Everyone. Uh,
Hello.
Good
Oh,
evening, good morning, whatever you are. This is our 55 show, so we have a special guest tonight, someone probably a lot of people know but doesn't know. So we want to have a little bit deeper conversation and expose a little bit more. We have Hector. Hector is a big part of the community around the globe. You know, Hector is the founder of OFF. Now he create Paradiso is another festival. Would be nice to talk because I don't think a lot of people knows about Paradiso. But can you just introduce you a little bit better? Who is Hector?
that's a huge one. Um, I don't know. Hector Ayuso, it's a crazy guy that came from small town in Valencia, moved to Barcelona to study cinema and end up doing events for thousands of people. It's funny, an introvert like myself and very shy person doing events for thousands of people. And doing these public things like today. Uh, I don't know. I've been a creative person since I remember, and I've been doing lots of things besides off, which is for what most people knows me. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I my background is cinema, but I've always been related to the creativity somehow, and I'm someone that keeps learning every day. I'm 52 today. I
Oh,
just
happy birthday.
no, not
Wow.
today. I'm
Ah,
52.
Oh,
My
sorry, right.
on
I thought
the
you meant
now the
literally today.
my birthday is in a couple of months. But yeah, I just spend the day, almost the whole day with the team from Dixon Baxi. We're working together on a really nice project. And I kind of share the same thing with them today. I gave them a talk.
yeah,
Uh,
that's nice.
and
So
yeah,
with regard to like the introvert part, obviously you've been putting on festivals for, well over like a decade or so now, well over that actually. Does the introvert part kind of have you just found like coping mechanisms with it? Like how do you deal with that? Like, that's quite a tricky thing to overcome if you're putting on a festival.
it is. Um, I guess like I do with almost every single thing in my life, it's I just force myself to face it, because
That's nice.
that's the way that you change things, or either yourself or with other people. So yeah, like my therapist told me many times, like it's funny that you chose to do something that it's so scary at the same time for yourself. But that's what I do all the time in
Yeah.
in every single project that I take. Uh, when I feel the risk side of the things, it's where I feel more motivated. It's when
Yeah.
I feel the need of doing something and pursue something.
I guess if it's not a challenge, you're not pushing yourself forward, and I guess things aren't as fun if you're just like on cruise control.
Yeah,
Also, it's quite scary because it's completely opposite than who you are as as every day. So it's quite. I think it's quite a big challenge, especially seeing the size of the festivals tend to be,
Mm.
and it's not like a small festival like we run. You know, it's still a small thing, but like often to be, the main event in the for the industry. You know, we're talking about thousands and thousands of people, and how I wanna rewind a little bit. You know, just you study cinema, and
Mhm.
how came from someone then went to study cinema and suddenly decide where the idea came. What was your goal in the beginning? Because I just want to see the connection because it's the same. I moved to London in 2002 and I met James and we started the event after. But I really want to pick your brain there because
Mhm.
it's for me it's quite fascinating to understand.
Yeah. It's simple to be honest, and it's not at the same time. It came from my own needs. Like I said, I studied cinema. Obviously, I realized really quickly that that wasn't something that I was gonna be able to live from, because it's really hard to be successful in cinema. So I started learning on my own to do graphic design and websites back in the days with Flash.
Wow, yeah.
And honestly, Flash became my main tool for years. Like, I was playing with it all the time. And I was following Joshua Davis when he was PlayStation. And
Yeah.
he was kind of my mentor, like for many people back then. And I learned a lot from him. But then one day, I mean, honestly, it wasn't my thing to be dealing with clients. I had my own company doing websites and everything, but I knew since the beginning that it wasn't my thing, and I never felt comfortable with that. So one day I discovered that Tim Burton was doing short films with Flash. And that all of a sudden opened my mind like, oh shit. So someone like Tim Burton is using the same software that I'm using to tell stories. So that could be a thing. So I started playing with it and I started creating my own things with Flash. And then, like a few weeks later, Radiohead also launched a video clip that was done with Flash.
Yeah.
And then it was, shit, this is becoming a thing. But then I realized that I was doing my own things, but then I wonder, but who the fuck is gonna see my films if I'm no one? And from there, from that same need that I had for myself, it's where the idea came from. So I was
Yeah.
literally at my place. I was watching a football game from Barca. I was fucking bored. And all of a sudden the idea came out like, I'm gonna create my own festival. So I can use that festival to show my things, and then I can invite people to come to this festival and show their things, and everything is gonna be done with Flash. And it wasn't easy, it all clicked together. So I created online Flash Film Festival, which at the beginning it was supposed to be only exclusively online. But then I started contacting everyone. I contacted Joshua Davis, I contacted the David Carson and a bunch of people. And I asked them to be part of the jury of the festival. And it was Joshua who told me, look, why don't you do something in Barcelona? We all come to Barcelona and we give talks about Flash and stuff and everything. And I was so naive and I said, yeah, why not?
Wow.
That's how it happened.
Yeah,
It's
that
interesting, like such a frivolous reply, like yeah, sure, why not, leads on to something that's so like so established and such like a big part of the creative community. Like when you said yes, did you ever have like an idea of how big it would become?
No way. No idea of how big, no idea how much will cost, no even an idea of how I will do it. Because all
yeah.
of a sudden I face myself with no experience at all, especially in terms of production and logistics, that I had to bring a bunch of people from abroad to Barcelona. And I need
Mm.
to book flights for them, I need to book hotels, I need to find an auditorium. And it was fucking scary. Like, shit, how can I do this?
Especially when you see like euros disappearing from a bank account, you know what I mean? Like
I didn't even have the euros.
And also,
I,
also you went straight to like create like a big festival. Wasn't anything a transition, you didn't get the people together. And like if you see how we start Sino Evo, Sino Evo is free, but it's a small event for
Mhm.
people, and the cost is a lot smaller and everything. But like to put event, we've been talking like for years. To put event is not
probably
just
about 10
money, but
years.
the time. Yeah, we be
Yeah.
it's time. I think the time is the hardest part, especially
Yeah.
when you have a career on as well.
But how do you
Probably.
juggle like paying the bills and putting on like, when you that transition period of going from like working, I don't know what we do in like animation or whatever, to putting on a full-time festival, so it's a huge job. So that transition going from doing a project that will pay the bills to like your dream project that you hope will pay the bills, but there's an interim where you have to fund it. I mean, that's really difficult.
It
Yeah.
is. And I guess we realize very quickly that it can be the foundation of the festival. The fact that you need to make money in order to do it. What you need is to have like some side projects or your own thing that is gonna pay your bills or
Bring.
help you to survive. But if the core of what you're doing in terms of design conference, for instance, is the fact that you need to make money, then you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
That's what I learned during the process. Like it's been years and years, and I've been doing off for 25 years, and now I've been doing Paradiso for just 1 year and something. But I realized that very quickly.
Yeah, it's true. I think it needs to come from passion. No, I think
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
drives that is the passion to get people together, and that's I think the reason of the event. To expose people, to put people as a community. I think the money come
To
as
bring
when you
people
show.
together, really.
Yeah, it's the same. I think on the job. When we do the job, doesn't matter if it's directing, animation, or design. When you put the passion there, you end up attracting people because what you do is what you love, and I think OFFF really represent that in the end of the day. I think
But people
as a
feed off
goal,
energy.
Yeah.
yeah,
So if
uh,
you can feel that energy, you want to be involved.
and again, that is still one of the biggest festival we see. Is one of part of the community. It's a big thing,
It's
but.
about that. It's about the community. It's about getting together, and everything changes when you have the opportunity to spend time with people just face to face. Like it just changes everything, and
Yeah,
that's what matters when you do these things.
So you've
yeah,
been
that
doing this for 25 years. Like how have you, like, obviously the creative industry has changed a massive amount in that amount of time. So how has the landscape changed in terms of like events and all that kind of side of things, like from your points or your perspective?
Um, First, you need to invest a lot, but like a lot of time on research and finding things and realizing what people need. You need to listen a lot. That's something that I enjoy, and it's part of my process. Like as a curator, like you need to listen to people and try to find the clues of what they need, and and then take the risk of doing something different. I think for me, every every conference or every event is finding their own place, and they play a big part of this whole curative community that we are part of. Uh, but there is always room to do something different, and that was one of the main reasons I took the decision of starting Paradiso a year ago. Um, because there is always gaps where
yeah.
I remember going to I think it was off New York. When was that? Was that 2012? That was a long time ago.
it was
I remember.
it was 27 actually.
Ah, was it?
Wow.
I've got an off book somewhere with some my illustrations in. But anyway, I remember that felt quite different to like, the previous one in like Barcelona or what have you. It felt like the vibe was different. I quite like that, even though it's kind of the same brand name, it had like a different atmosphere to it in a way. I thought it was
It
quite an interesting factor.
it impacts a lot the place that you do anything, and I mean, for instance, I'm gonna go back to. I mean, I'm here to talk about everything, of course, but I'm gonna go back to Paradiso, and for me, because people ask me a lot, like,
Let me
why?
just interrupt 1 second, Hector. Can you just explain what is Paradiso? Because it's a new event, it's complete different out of the box. And
Mhm.
as you talk about risk, I think that is one of things we miss in the industry, how Paradiso runs the event. Can you just tell people, for who doesn't know, what is Paradiso, what is about, so people understand a little bit?
Yeah, I guess the easiest way to describe Paradiso will be it's a creative retreat. It's a place where we get together like a small group of people. This year we were like 190 exactly, to spend time together, like if we were in a school trip or something like this. Some people call it honeymoon, some people call it like the school trip, and but at the end of the day, it's just spending time together, quality time, shared memories, and all that mixed with different activities like outdoor activities, and then uh, obviously conferences and panel discussions and screenings or any kind of thing that it just triggers your creativity, but in a way that you feel that you're actually stopping from everything else. That was probably the most important thing for me. Like, first of all, you need to take a huge effort to come to Paradiso because it's in the middle of nowhere in Merida, and it's a long trip somehow, even if you are in the US. That was thing, and then that effort, it's forcing you to stop, literally stop, and taking the time to live that experience in a I don't know, like, yeah, like in a really immersive way. Like, you're gonna leave everything behind and you're gonna be part of Paradiso. That was for me really, really important, and break every single rule that I created myself during 25 years. I decided to break it, literally. Like,
Yeah.
you cannot use a laptop. You forget about the keynote. There is no keynote. If you want to give a talk, the talk has to come from you. Um, like these small decisions that I was taking during the process of building Paradiso. And at the same time, I decided that it will stay uh, open enough for improvisation all the time.
Mm.
Like, we have a program, we have some kind of activities, and we have some kind of order, but at the same time, I always love to embrace the chaos of things. Like,
Yeah.
know what's going to happen. And that unknown part of things, it's also exciting. I trigger a lot of people to talk about different things, and the fact I had no idea if it was going to work or not. It was in my head, and I planned it, and I planted there, and I put the seeds. But then it happened. That was beautiful. When
Mm.
someone comes to you and say, "Look, I know you explained it to me before. We had many calls before coming here, but I didn't know exactly what was. But now that I'm here, you know what? I'm gonna talk about this that I never shared in my life, not even with my own family, but I'm gonna share it here today. And I'm
Mm.
gonna do it because I'm here. I'm surrounded with all these guys with me, and I feel comfortable enough to do it. But I'm not gonna do it ever again. And
Yeah.
because I'm in Paradiso.
Yeah.
That was what I was looking for, and somehow we accomplished that. But it was part of a plan, but I didn't know if it was going to happen or not. And that's part of the risk that you're taking when you do something.
Yeah, it's
It
true.
sounds
It's
it
true.
sounds like like I mean, it just sounds like a real deep getaway, much deeper, richer experience. It sounds like it's got quite you have a schedule as like a guide, but it sounds very free flowing,
Hmm.
very
Yeah.
And also,
reactionary, which is quite
and
nice.
also for me then was that I think most of the festival is rush. It's a lot of people. Everyone want to see this. You
Mm,
try to see friends and everything, and it's the same with work every day. We always like overwhelming, a lot of noise, and I think Paradiso was a moment when you press slow motion and you just see things happening. You're connecting with people. You see it, events. Well, it was a lot of things going on, from running in the morning to outside going to cenote, to going to food experience, to go to talks, exhibition. Everything happened, but in a pace that you really feel you can observe and enjoy that. And I think for me, the festivals when I go is like rushing everything. And this was a time I talk a lot in therapy about that, because I feel I always like fast forward my life. It's too much to do, and you
mm.
don't really look into things you're doing. But I think Paradiso was like a kind of pause play, but it's really in a slow pace. Then you could absorb, you could talk to friends, you could see things. And for me, that was the biggest take from Paradiso, like the experience, the connections, and was like completely different out of, anything we have at the moment.
And again, like I said before, every single design event there, they had the purpose, and there's
Mm.
and they need to exist because they're really important, and OFF will be the biggest one probably for many, many, many years. But for me, the wake up call was when a lot of people start telling me, look, Hector, how come I didn't see even your face during the 3 days of the festival? That can
Yeah.
happen again. And
Mm.
we miss you, and we miss the days that we used to spend time together. That for me, that was the wake up call. Like, oh shit, it's true. It's happening, that we don't see each other anymore. We
Yeah.
don't spend time together anymore. And I miss those things too. I mean, I miss those moments where you actually connect with someone else, and
It was personal.
yeah, and you feel the energy, with
Yeah.
I think it's the same with I think it's the same with quite a few companies as well, where there's an ideal size of say like 12 to 14 people, where it feels like it's all friends hanging out, you're doing whatever, having a good time doing the work, and then when it becomes big, or too big, it feels a little bit impersonal, and you haven't got the same, I don't know, same like connection. And I guess it's kind of a similar thing when the festival becomes too big, and you've got too much on your plate to organize, making sure everything runs or whatever, but you miss kind of seeing the people and chatting and hanging out, at the sociable side.
Yeah.
Mm. And turns to be, the cost is huge. You can't just be like it used to be. It's the same for companies, like what you're saying, James. But I think this is one of the reason, and I love it. What happened in Paradiso this year, because when I started my career back in Brazil, the company used to be small, like about 10, 12 of us, and we knew a lot what is going on. The owner talks to everyone, and soon turns to be like a 50 people company, turns to be more numbers than, and everyone lost that connection, the vibe, the love for the
Mm.
project. And I see the same happen with festival, but and is why I think you're
Is that
saying,
why we've
Hector.
not done a large See No Evil yet? We don't want to risk it.
Maybe, maybe, yeah, a part of the time and cost, But I think it's amazing to see what you managed to do, this
Yeah.
year, and what is gonna happen next year. Is you gonna carry on doing every year? So for people who wanna join, what
Yeah, of
is the plan?
course. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're already working on it, and of course it's gonna be because it's part of the purpose of Paradiso, uh, because most of the people that came this year, they're gonna come back, which is amazing. It's probably the best response that you can get. But
Mm.
we're planning a completely different experience. It's gonna happen in Merida again, but the whole thing is gonna be different. Like again, it's gonna be another school trip
Wow.
to a different place with different activities and different
Man,
outcomes.
I really
So,
hope you get like the old classic American yellow school bus to get people from the airport to Paradiso.
But also, I think also what you're saying, it, because the festival, of course, the festival grows, but it is the same festival, But what you're saying about Paradiso is kind of transforming, and growing, as so it's not gonna be the same as last year. So for people that come, it's still a new festival, it's still new things happening and everything. And festivals, like, doesn't matter which festival we go, but it's always similar. It's similar what we see, what it changed the speakers, but
mhm.
it end up being the same format. But what you're saying is kind of transforming and find their way at the moment.
Yeah, and honestly, another decision that was part of the process of building Paradiso, and it's something that we're working a lot right now with Dixon Baxi, that we are creating the new identity for Paradiso for next year. It's not about the lineup. I mean, actually, officially, we don't have a lineup. It's about the people. It's about who is going to be there.
Yeah.
So it's not about some names, and that's something that I want to reinforce in a way, like the the part of the curator, what we do as curators, that sometimes it's been taken like something that it's just easy because you just pick some names and that's it, and you put them
Yeah.
on a list, and then you're done. That's it. But it's not about that. I mean, or at least that's not how I see it. We as a curators, it's more about what's going to happen and how it's going to happen and how you're going to treat the people that's going to be there. And everyone is part of the same experience. So don't divide, at least what
Yeah.
we try to do is that don't divide who is a speaker and who is an attendee.
Mm.
Everyone is part of the same experience. Everyone's going to live the same thing since the beginning to the end. So that same single decision also changes everything. It changes the vibe. It changes how people relate within each other. Still today, a lot of people that came to Paradiso keeps telling me it's amazing because I was so scared because Sagmeister was going to be next to me or David Carson was going to be next to me. But then all of a sudden I was there. It was so easy. And we were
Yeah.
having burgers all
It's,
together
it's it's
in
just
the
an
same,
organic,
same table.
it becomes like an organic relationship. Nothing's forced. It's like, well, you're hanging out and
Yeah.
chatting to people as a one-on-one, how you would do in the pub or whatever.
It's like when you
Like,
make friends in the
exactly.
in the playground at the school.
Mhm.
You just go and say, "Hey, my name is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But
How are
it
you?"
makes it
And that's
makes the
it.
bond much stronger, and it just feels, it feels legitimate. It's not like
Yeah, it
someone's
feels
trying to get.
feels natural. Wasn't
Yes.
something that you try to force to create an opening party, and I had people, but they not mixing together. But Paradiso felt like that, you're next to someone, then maybe is your idol, maybe is someone then you are the idol, but everyone was together as a connection that I felt that was I think that the best feeling I had there because it was being with friends in the end of the day, and a friend of a friend, and everyone I think connect and spoke to each other without, oh, who is this, who is that? Wasn't about name, it was about people there, and I think that was the best feeling I got from there, and yeah, it was. I don't know if people is gonna come next year, but I think it was amazing thing, and you know, and I'm super happy you put that together. And what is your goal, in the next years? Because it's still 1 year is like it's not even a baby, just born. It's so
Yeah.
much to transform with there.
Well, hopefully, for now, we're going to do it again in March next year. But we have some ideas of how it might grow, but not in a size way, but more in like how can it be spread as an idea and a concept of doing things. So I would like to Paradiso be in other places and in other shapes, but always with the same philosophy and the same essence of how the original one happened. So we have some ideas and we're working on that. Uh, but yeah, hopefully it's gonna keep growing like
Yeah,
small
my
island.
question was going to be, are you planning on taking it to other parts of the world? But you kind of answered that in itself. I recommend the Yorkshire Dales.
It might happen, but still, like I said before, it needs to be. It can be just an easy thing. I mean, and not, I mean because that would be. And honestly, a lot of people came right after Paradiso and told me you should do Paradiso in London, or you should do Paradiso in LA.
It sounds like it wouldn't be the
But,
same
but
vibe,
then,
though.
but then that would be like the easy way, like
Yeah,
you have done something that did work and it's amazing, and you're getting calls from everyone, even big companies. But then it's gonna become the same thing again.
Mm.
yeah, it's true.
I think
And
location, it sounds like location is also quite a big key. Like if
it
you do it
is.
in a city, that doesn't sound right. Like you say, like it needs to be somewhere that's a little bit off the beaten path, a little bit trickier to get to, and then you have that more of a focal point on the people at the place.
Yeah,
For me, that immersive part. Like if you are in a place like Merida, you know that you are in Merida, so there's no way that you can go somewhere else.
Mm,
So you need to be part of the experience.
yeah, it's true.
If you do it in LA, then there's too many distractions.
Yeah,
I
it's true.
agree. Yeah.
People go outside and yeah, let's have some dinner here and then let's get together here. But then everything gets spread, like then there's no
Yeah,
part of a
and
like
people end
one
up
thing.
Yeah, yeah. People end up like you saying LA or London, big cities like that. People has friends, want to see, studios or whatever, and you lose that. I think that's what Merida. I asked you before why Merida, but Merida, we were all there, and also part of the Paradiso was to understand Merida and understand the food as well. So
Yeah.
wasn't just like we were all together and exploring together. And I think that was quite amazing because we would lose that in any big city as well.
Yeah.
That's
How did
good.
it? Obviously, Paradiso is your thing now, but how did it feel like passing on off? Obviously, off was your baby for such a long time. That must have been quite. I mean, I can understand your rationale because you mentioned it earlier, but that still must have been quite a tricky thing to do, or I don't know, like a difficult thing to hand off.
Yeah, it was scary, it was painful, mix at the same time. Uh, but it was exciting to start something new. So for me, like I said before, at the end of the day, everything comes from your own needs and your uh, what makes you wake up every morning and get excited with what you're doing. And when you lose that, I mean, at least in my case, I needed to find something that triggers that excitement again. And at the same time, you feel like the unknown part of the process
Mm,
doing something.
Yeah,
That's for me, again, in every single project, but especially with leaving off and starting Paradiso, it was that process. Uh, it helps me to be more creative and came with more ideas and even if it has like a painful side of it, that pain because I came from a world and a childhood that it was through a lot of pain. I used that as a trigger for my creativity. It's a fuel for me. It's important.
yeah,
that's great. Yeah, it's the challenge, the challenge, the unknown. I think really boosts you to. You need to find solutions. You need to be creative to find that. I
you get
wanna,
that
I wanna.
satisfaction as well, like when you have an idea in your head and it works and you get a lot of you get a lot of satisfaction from seeing something go from an idea to everyone else enjoying it. That's quite cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I wanna also touching something because you just start your own company now as well, apart parallel to Paradiso.
Hmm.
You have your own creative company, then you're helping studios, agency develop and find. Can you tell me a little bit about what is the company and what you guys like a goal, what you want to do?
Yeah, that also came from a really awesome, happy accident when I met Marco at OFF a couple of years ago. Marco is my partner at Not on Sale, which is the company that we are talking about, and he came. I mean, his background is coaching, and he's been a coach, business coach for many years. But then when we got together and we start sharing ideas between each other, we came up with this different approach of helping not companies like helping anyone to just uh, in the journey of finding themselves and finding what they want to do and how they want to do it or who they are. It's some kind of creative therapy, to be honest, what we do. I mean, I've been doing that in a not formal way for many years with a lot of people, most of them friends that I just help them, I give them tips, and I guide them uh, with their brands or their companies. Or, I mean, I work with Marcel for a couple of years at the state, and I help them to grow, to create awareness around the state and the rebrand or the process of a rebrand and everything. And I learn a lot from all these experiences. So we decided to me and Marco put all that together and help people to just find their own journey and when they get stuck in a creative way or they want to even start from scratch or create a new company or a new brand or anything, we just guide them and make the trip with them to find solutions, creative
Sounds
solutions.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say it sounds like quite a natural progression kind of thing.
It is, because at the end of the day, it's what we do daily. I mean, and it's what I have done with Paradiso. I mean, I built my own brand from scratch, from not knowing what I was gonna do. It was just an idea in my head, and then you make that idea actually happen and become something that it goes beyond a brand. And
Yeah.
it's an idea, it's a concept, it's a way of thinking, it's even a lifestyle, if you want to call it. So if you're able to share that same process with other people and help them to find their own way of doing things, honestly, that's awesome. I mean, it's again, it's part of how I do things, and um, it's what makes me feel comfortable. I mean, part of who I am, like sharing everything, sharing knowledge, sharing absolutely
There's a lot of satisfaction
in
as
an
well. Like
honest and open way always. So
there's a lot of
It's too.
satisfaction from working, obviously you're working with a company and sowing the seeds and then seeing them like go off and be like super successful. I mean, that's quite a nice, satisfying thing to see.
yeah.
And it must be, you're talking about the process, creating Paradise is something you did, but must be so difficult for you disconnect when it's a personal brand than when you work with client. Do you feel like that was a bigger challenge because is care is about you? Is I think for me it's always a lot of studios talks. It's a lot easier to do a branding, for client than do your own. A lot of studios is really bad branding themselves and selling themselves as a brand, but that's the job they do for other people. I
Mhm.
think it is. How did you feel? Because creating Paradiso is so many people looking like something that you feel your baby when you're doing for, I think, for a company or individual is a job is a bit different than you can get, input from the other people. But when it's only you there, how did you feel creating that? Because for me, it's always the most difficult part, and I've seen a lot of studios trying to, rebranding and everything. Like you said, you did with Marcel for State. When you
Mhm.
bring someone from outside is one thing, but when you start your studio and trying to brand that is so difficult.
Um, it is difficult, but um, I guess how can I say this? I mean, I'm a very straightforward person, and I'm really honest. And when you share the experience with someone else, and you use some specific sentences, all of a sudden you open the mind from everyone, like, and they realize that, at least from my perspective, that when you're building a brand, or you're even rebranding a company, it needs to start from a feeling. For me, it's again, it's some kind of therapy. You need to
Mhm.
know yourself and who you are as a brand, like if it was any other person, and treat it like a person, and create that character, give that character a personality, and the last step of the whole process and the whole thing is the visual part. And that's where most people fail sometimes. They start since the beginning from the visual side of a brand, and that's, at least for, again, from my perspective, is the wrong way of doing things. I mean, for me, it's just about, it's a feeling, you
Yeah.
know. It's again, it's, what is this exactly, and what's the purpose? Where are you gonna go? Who you wanna touch when you create this? And then maybe will come the visual side of it. But I mean, if today you ask me what's a Paradiso logo, I will say I have no idea, because there are so many, and they keep creating more and more and more, and that's great, because at the end of the day, where is the brand? With the word.
Yeah.
Someone talks about Paradiso, that's the brand. Why? Because it's a feeling. It's something that you can touch, you can feel, you can be part of it. And it goes beyond the visual side of a
Yeah.
brand.
And you will remember longer than any visual.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
And
That's
obviously,
always like,
when you try to translate that to a business side, maybe it's difficult, maybe it's tricky, but it is possible. And I know it's possible. I mean, I remember the first few months working with myself that most of the time it was just about talking and talking and talking for hours, like sharing our feelings between each other. And from all those conversations, the ideas end up coming up, and we end up doing something together. But it was a lot of thinking, a lot of sharing, a lot of just conversations and conversations, ending conversations.
yeah, that's, I mean, it sounds like a therapy session to discover your own self, but discovering the brand the way you describe. And I think for,
Brand
not for the
therapy.
young generation, but like I'm 45 now. I think for anyone like the 80s, 70s, I think talk is really hard. To express yourself is really hard. So I think the way you're talking to express, to create feelings in a brand, I think for everyone old school, always being about visual more than, creating that feeling. And I
Mhm.
think it's the same for commercial. If you get a really nice commercial, sometimes you remember that feeling you had of it. You may not remember the brand, but you remember the feeling, the commercial, the visual. And I think that's always more important than the end visual of that. And for brand, as you say, probably work really well.
And the
You guys
bond,
go deep.
the bond that you're gonna get, it's way bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, if it comes from feeling, that bond is gonna be much stronger than just a visual thing.
Mm. And it will be also for the right target, because you're gonna connect with the people who has the same attachment feelings and ideas than you, and it's a lot stronger when you do the work as well.
Yeah.
Wow. And was you so you just start the company now, so what, also the same as Paradiso, are you connecting both? You think they one complement each other, or is a complete different thing one to the other?
Also, to add to
No,
that, how do you kind of like juggle? How do you juggle like working on both companies at the same time?
I don't sleep.
I mean, that's one way, yeah.
But that's true. Now, people, I remember like years ago, you told me that you don't sleep many hours.
No, I sleep
Yeah.
probably 2 3 hours tops every day.
Really?
Wow. Wow.
That's
How do you deal with that then? Because I have quite a few sleep problems, and if I can't, I feel it when I don't sleep. I have that kind of like everything just feels heavy. But if you're only sleeping a couple of hours consistently, how do you function, man?
Yeah, that's hard.
that's it became like a big discussion in my context, like with my therapists, my doctors, and everything. Honestly, I've been like this for so many years that just physically my body is used to that. And actually, if I sleep more than 3 hours per day, I don't function.
Oh,
Wow.
interesting.
Quite the
It's
opposite.
reversal.
So if it's more than 3 hours, usually I wake up tired and no energetic, like I don't function. So I just need 2 or 3 tops and then I'm like this.
I did
That
an
that's
exper I did an
Thiago, Thiago,
experiment.
Thiago knows me very well and he knows that I train a lot.
yeah,
I
that's what I was going to say. For who
I do
doesn't know you,
Ultramans.
I actually did an Ironman.
Yeah, I'm training for the Ultraman in Mexico. So
Wow. I did
Wow,
um I
that
did an experiment when I was younger. I think I was about 20, 22, 23, where I just thought, you know what, I'm going to stay up as long as I can and see what happens. And I think I stayed awake for it was about 3 days. I think after that it gets a little bit dangerous, but whatever. And I found that I think it was like after a day and a half, the tiredness, you kind of go through a barrier and then you get to a little bit of a delirium and then you kind of equalize a little bit. So I'm guessing it's something like that. Although I did sleep for 24 hours after I came to the end of it.
but I think what is more impressed for me, if you slept 3 hours, but you just sit there and do the work, be creative is one thing. But the amount of work you put, with running, biking, swimming, it just the body. as a physical thing to work functional, for the training you do and that to work as well. It's crazy. They should find you must have something different because I remember I think it was like many years ago when I heard you saying, you don't sleep, and I said, how, and I understand if you just work, but the amount of training you put there is just like for the body is a lot, it's crazy.
It is, but it works. I mean, like I said, it's been so many years like this that it actually, like I said, if I do the opposite, then it doesn't work. So
Yeah.
for me, it's just now it's 8:46. Probably in a couple of hours, I will go to bed. And sometimes I tell my wife, look, I have so much work to do today that I'm just gonna sleep for an hour and then I'm done.
Yeah. And
But
how that works, i- because you have a wife as well, and I assume she sleep normal. And
yeah,
you just wake up like and you have a lot of hours when she's sleeping, and it's good because you can put the work, but also it's completely different. It's nothing open, no one annoying through the night as well, like client emails. So must be like a focus time, then you can really produce a lot as well.
yeah, it's
But
probably the best quality time for me during the night. Yeah.
When like when your wife and yourself first got together, how did she deal with the sleeping aspect, or was it she just completely accepted it and it's like it is what it is?
Not at the beginning.
suddenly wake up 3 in the morning. Where's Hector? Went for a
Yeah.
run.
I
No,
have to admit, like if it was with my wife and she was sleeping, I'd be tempted to put her in like, lots of weird positions so she wakes up all freaked out.
no, she got used to it, and now what happens sometimes, usually, I mean, when we travel is different, but when we are at home, uh, usually when I wake up, she goes to bed, she sleeps for the whole night, and during the night I work, I go training, and when I'm back from training, I go to bed and wake her up, like nice,
Yeah.
like if I spend the night with her, but I didn't, so
You didn't, yeah. But
But
also it's good because like being a father for me is being kind of my priority in life to spend good time with my daughter, the first 10 years of her life or something like that. And but manage work and manage her makes me to work really long hours to be able to do everything I need to do in the day. But if you don't really sleep, like even with your wife, you can manage to do the main things you really needs to focus, and there you have also more time to spend with like with her and things like that.
Yeah, and we do a lot of things together. Honestly, we spend most of the day together. We also work together, which it helps, but in this case, but we have like any other couple quality time, and I go to the movies almost every week, which we love to do that, and like everyone else, we go out, we have dinner and shopping and whatever it is.
does it
Well,
affect
yeah.
jet lag at all? Like you like impervious to jet lag?
Uh, it doesn't exist, the jet lag in my case.
Yeah,
Um, it feels like it's a bit of a superpower.
it is special. When did you arrive in London? Yesterday.
I arrived on Sunday,
Yeah, it's what it is 6 hours different, no? From
7.
Merida, 7. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a massive difference.
Yeah.
So to not have jet lag is like must be really good. Like James said, a superpower.
Uh,
Because I
Again,
when I came back, I was really bad. The same when I went there, the times was like the morning was really good for me, but then I start losing my energy as the night come, and
Yeah.
it was really hard the first 2 days.
Coming back is harder usually. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, to get kind of like slightly back on track. So I was thinking, like, you've obviously put on a lot of like amazing creatives and speakers over your time. Like, which of the speakers, or is there any speaker that kind of stands out to you that just made you kind of, I don't know, kind of view the world differently and like how you perceive and think about things? Like, was there any speaker that gave you like a massive like wow moment?
Mm, I mean, I can choose like every single person that I met during this last 20, 26, 27 years. They've all been impactful in some way in my life. And like I said in the morning with the Dixon Baxi guys, I told, look, I've been lucky enough to say today that 99.9% of people that came to my events, they became friends.
Mm.
And that's for me the most important part. Like, and they're all been really important of my journey. So
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah,
means a lot. I
that's
think it's a
and
good
I can
testament
pick.
to character.
It's really difficult to pick just one thing. There are many moments, uh, but yeah, it's difficult.
it,
Everyone is really important.
if I could pick one for you, I think Joshua in Paradiso this year was like a massive, was the first time he went through and really told his life a
Yeah,
part of the work. And for me, that was like, wow, really, really connect. And me and Burton was talking to him after, but sitting there and, for who knows Joshua, he's so confident in everything. His work is amazing. But once you turn that and it's so personal to you and telling a story, then there is the dark moment and everything. I think it's quite hard to see these things nowadays. And I think that Paradiso was amazing about that because a lot of people put through
Mm.
the feelings and the connection. And
I think
but
that's the
Joshua for
nature of
me was amazing.
but the nature of what we do, and when you put on a show, you're basically putting on the best version of yourself, as it were, and you've got this front and you hide behind the screen. Whereas obviously that sounds way more personal, like on a
Yeah,
different level.
It's true. Like Thiago said, I mean, what happened? It happened with other people too. But what Joshua decided to do at Paradiso, and specifically with him, like we've been friends since the beginning. Like I said before, he was the
Mm.
responsible, literally the responsible of to happen and even exist today. And he's probably the only one that has been at off every single year.
well,
And then he's been at Paradiso too. And yeah, he's my brother. I mean, we have the same tattoo in our hand.
Oh,
Uh,
nice. I didn't realize that.
we share the tattoo, and it's my yeah, he's my brother, and
yeah.
he will be part of my life always, like
And
no matter
I
what.
think, yeah, I think it is crazy. Like he's saying, like he has been in every year at 12,
Yeah.
but was the first year at Paradiso, but was, for who saw him so many years. Of course, the talk changed, but it's about the work and about, the career. But this year was like watching him sitting there and really telling like the things we're not used to tell, especially our age, and to expose. And especially like everyone loves to be on the stage, show how good you are, and talks, like James said, is
Mm.
you have the screen behind and showing the work to give us the, how good you are. But when you expose yourself about things, especially like 40s up, it's so hard. And sometimes you don't even know how to do, and this was the first year after what, 25 years
It was it
being
was
off.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
absolutely memorable. Like you said, it all of a sudden it wasn't the Joshua Davis performer because we know that he's a
yeah,
performer. He's great at the
yeah,
stage. It was the real Joshua Davis,
yeah.
the
yeah.
person, you know.
Mm.
And I'm going back to Paradiso because this is a subject I really love, talking about connection and feelings and like exposing yourself. And I think we don't see that as much nowadays. And I think the industry needs a lot. I think for me, like mental breakdown, the first time I heard about that or burnout was when we had Mike from Men's Health Machine
Mm.
through the pandemic. And I think he took a year off. And
Yeah, I did.
also Mike being helped me a lot going through, we went for coffee and chatting. But before that, I never really exposed myself or talked to even to a close friend.
Mhm.
And I saw that so much at Paradise. And people was, scared, but in the same time so relieved, so happy and confident to share that. That feels like you such a small group
The
to make people
validation.
feel that, the validation. But it's so hard, So
I think
people,
part of the problem is our industry is like, oh, working late. There's a bit of a weird bravado about, oh, it's okay to work late when it's not okay to work late all the time. I think that has I mean, obviously sleeping patterns aside,
yeah,
but like generally, I think people get taken advantage of in the creative industry and kind of made to work late and, for
but
not great
not
wages.
just even the work late, but to express to yourself, to other people.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's part of the work, like you're saying, Hector. Feeling is bigger than the visual. And the same, we all creatives being showing the vision and talk about the vision, but not really looking internally and talk about ourselves. And I think that reflect and help so many, especially the young people, then go through the same thing and never heard that. And I think this is for me, it's quite a mind change, to be able you can express to other people.
I mean, it's always the easiest way if you hide your own feelings. That's the easy way of going. But if you create the right context and, like you said, the right group of people that gives you the trust and it does the same with you, then you feel comfortable enough to open yourself. And like you said, it changes everything.
Mm.
It's just, it opens your mind all of a sudden and you become someone else. I mean, it's just
It's true.
like that. You become someone else immediately.
It's true. And I think I don't know. I think it's so hard, and especially when you are on the stage that and talk to people you don't really know. And but I think it's what you're saying. It changes you, make you see in a completely different way than you used to see. And I also understand the other people. Who is there for you, who is your friend,
Mhm.
and for me that being a massive transformation because I found a lot help in people than I would never expect to find. Talk to them, and
Is it
I think
easier
that's
because they're not necessarily, I mean, they're kind of like new friends, so it's not like maybe it would be different if you're chatting to friends in London because it's where your home is, kind of thing. Is it easier because it's in a faraway setting with new people, so you feel like it's easier to get stuff off your chest? Is that part of it as well?
I don't, for me personally, I don't think so. I think it is, especially Paradiso, we had people from everywhere. So we had people from home or not. But I think one of the biggest thing we have as a creative, is or as a human, is talk about the problems when the problems still exist.
Yeah.
It's easy we talk the problems in the past, then we pass through them and show how strong we are nowadays. But I think I saw so much people exposing themselves and going through problems and exposing them. And I think that's, as a human being, I think is the hardest part for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know for you guys. I know you actually you do therapy as well, but for me, it's a new thing. I've been doing therapy like, I don't know, for maybe 2 years now.
Yeah.
And before I used to think, why I'm gonna do what I'm gonna talk about myself. But you learn so much about yourself. And it's exposing yourself, talking to people, I think is a big key
Mm.
to understand and learn about yourself.
It's a big step. It takes, I mean, I've been in therapy for 38 years,
Wow.
which is it's more than half of my life. So, but sharing it's hard, like you said, and especially when it is happening, when you feel like you are touching bottom, like you are in the worst, in the darkest place that you can be. Speak up in that moment. It's the hardest thing to do. But
Yeah, I agree.
that is the most important part. Like, I mean, and I know that I've been through that, and I know that you also been through this, and just taking that step of sharing what's going on with you, it changes everything. It opens a new perspective of everything.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. We getting 1 hour show here, so let's ask you a couple more questions and we finish. So I love, we talk about off Paradiso, you know, and especially about the feeling and where you see yourself as Hector, in the next 5 years here? What do you have a goal? Do you have a place you want to be, a thing you want to do, or you gonna doing as the same in Paradiso happen, looking for the challenge, looking to transform and get better?
Um, I mean, I like to be open all the time, and ready for whatever might happen. And I think I learned in my life that I can be anywhere. I mean, I know my home probably is Barcelona and it will always be Barcelona, but uh, I like to keep myself open to whatever happens. And right now, my goal and my future, I know it's there. It's in Merida and in Mexico, and I have many projects coming on. And in the next 5 years, one of the things that I enjoy the most and I really, really miss, and I know it's going to happen soon, is teaching. I love teaching. I love sharing my life, my knowledge, my experiences, everything, and I miss that side of myself. So I'm gonna soon open something that is not gonna be a school again because I hate labeling things. But yeah, I wanna go back teaching.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I really connect to you with that because I think for me, teaching is not just about teaching other people, but to teach, you need to know why you do things. You need to understand it's a lot, is a different process. And when I start teaching, people ask you why you do, and as a creative through a lot of years, you just do because it's automatic for you. But when you teach, you really need to ask yourself and understand the process. And for me, this is amazing. So I'm really looking forward to what you're coming with there. And
Nice to have like this
James, do you?
positive impact. It's just nice to have like
Yeah,
a positive impact on other and see other people flourish through, obviously the small impact you've had on their life is
and
quite a
and
beautiful
sharing
thing.
the knowledge, sharing the
Mm,
how many years knowledge is, I think is so much, is so
mm.
rich than really work. Do you want to ask your last question, or should I ask?
I think you've asked. I got my list and I've ticked off most of them.
So I wanna ask one last thing, Hector. You've been like with off for 5 years. You've been creative longer than that, and for people then really want to join the industry, really you want to, doesn't matter, create an event or create a brand. I think I would like to talk more brand. What would be like the biggest tip you can give to the people?
Mm.
Doesn't need to be one thing you can
Um,
That's a big question.
it
yeah.
is a big question, but I mean, I have many, but I would say just make sure what you want to do. Uh, Make sure that that thing is gonna be the thing that makes you happy, and then go for it, no matter what. That's what I will say. Like
Well,
with no boundaries. Like just don't put barriers on yourself. Like make sure that who you are, what do you want, that's gonna make you happy, and then go for it. That's
okay,
that's
that's,
what I will say.
yeah, that's I think that's quite a big touch feeling uh to end the show as well. But Hector, I want to say thank you so much. Thank you everyone to be here. I know you're not
Thank
gonna
you.
sleep, but everyone goes to bed. But I'm gonna see you tomorrow anyway, so it'll be nice
Yeah,
to catch up properly. Yeah. But thank you everyone. We just before we finish, we're gonna have the next live show in London on the 12th of August,
Yeah,
and
it is.
we
Yeah.
and in the end of August with the live stream as well. We're gonna post on the Instagram. But Hector, thanks so much, man. It's been
thank
like a
you.
Thanks.
pleasure.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you later.
Oh, the stream is off. Man,
Well, it
thanks
was
so much for
really
sharing
interesting.
and also telling a little bit who is Hector, because